This is Carol Ann, and welcome back to Inside Out. Give us just another minute or two. There are still people joining our webinar, and then we're going to start off and introduce you to some of the special people at Knollwood. So just have another minute or two of patience because we're ready for you. The sound of silence. Okay, well, I think we have given people enough time to join in. It's just almost a minute or so after 3. So welcome to Inside Out. For those of you who are just joining us for the first time, thank you for tuning in. We do these webinar series usually about twice a month, and we also record them. So if you want to look at the webinars that you've missed, you can look on the Knollwood website, knollwoodcommunity.org, and see some of our past recorded ones. We have done several Meet the Residents. So when you see other episodes to meet residents, it's going to be different people than you're meeting today. So now we'll move forward. And what I just want to do is, because we do have a couple of new people, just wanted to do a quick overview of Knollwood. First of all, my name is Carol Ann, and I work here in the sales and marketing department with Helen and Elise and Randy. And eventually you'll meet them if you haven't already. And we work at a really wonderful community right on Rock Creek Park. So if I were good at throwing a softball, I could throw it across the street. And Rock Creek Park is there. You don't have to drive to get to it. You just walk. We're a nonprofit community. Everybody who lives here is, well, almost everybody who lives here is 62 plus. I think there might be one person that's not. And also, Knollwood is a life plan community. And while actually there are a couple in this area, it is unusual because most towns do not have a life plan community. Most do have a small assisted living or independent plus assisted living rental, but not a life plan community. You know, what makes a life plan community different from other options is that it has to at least have independent living and skilled nursing. Okay, excuse us 1 minute. We forgot to put our signs out on the door. So we have independent living, and we also have skilled nursing on the other end. And in between, Knollwood also has assisted living, memory care, and also short-term rehab. The largest neighborhood at Knollwood is independent living. And today you're going to meet 4 very special people who said yes to coming on our show today. So I'd like to introduce Judith Allen. Give a wave, Judith, so people know who you are.
Hi.
Or you can say hello too, because we are live.
Oh, hello, everybody.
And Esther and her husband, Gene Herman.
Hi, nice to meet you.
And Jim Bruton. He's
Hello.
also here. So what I first want to do is, I know a lot of people believe or think that everyone who lives at Knollwood was in the military. So just kind of one by one. Judith, did you serve in the military?
No, my husband was in the military.
And Esther and Jean, did you serve? I think Jean did.
Yes, I did. I was drafted during Vietnam and was stationed in Washington, which was only supposed to be for 2 years, but we're still here.
You're still in DC.
And then I did spend 30 years in the public health service.
Okay. And we'll talk about, I think, careers and stuff in a bit too. And Jim, I think you did serve in the military though, didn't you?
Yes, 28 years in the Army, active duty and reserve. Spent 8 years active duty and 20 in the reserve.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you for that. Yeah. Now, let's see. So, you know, Esther, you didn't serve, but even if your husband didn't serve, you could still live here. Knollwood does have a military roots, and its original founding was all military. In fact, men weren't even allowed. But over the years, Knollwood even allowed men. But now, we're open to people from, all different walks of life. But I think most people who choose Knollwood, and we'll find out why the four of you did, are here because of some like strong connection to DC, or maybe it is their past service and whatnot. For the people who are watching, as you think of questions to ask the residents, doesn't have to be anything that we're talking about, but any question that you might be curious about Knollwood or about the person, just key it in. You can either use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen or the chat function at the bottom of your screen. And that's how we'll get your conversations with Jim and Judith and Esther and Jean going. But why don't I just start off, and maybe we'll start with Esther, because you were kind of in the middle of everything else. Esther, tell us a little bit about maybe your life before Knollwood, your occupation, where did you live most recently before coming to Knollwood, some of those things.
Okay, well, I'm a retired social worker and I worked in Prince George's County, protecting children and families for a number of years. Before I retired and then I was immediately asked to work somewhere else. So I did that about 5 more years, also involving children and families. We came here from not very far, Tacoma Park, Maryland. And we love the close-in areas. We're in DC a lot. We make use of the cultural activities. We're very near a synagogue, which we've been very active in for the past, I would say, 50 years. So we've gotten a lot of activities there, and we're just all around sunk into this community.
Well,
And the
Jean,
setting
maybe
is beautiful too. The setting is gorgeous.
great setting. And Jean, tell us a little bit about what you did before coming to Knollwood.
So I am a pharmacologist. I came here from California and was stationed at Walter Reed for 2.5 years. And then I joined the Food and Drug Administration, which I spent 30 years at. And while I was at the Food and Drug Administration, I joined the Commission Corps of the Public Health Service. And part of my effort with the Public Health Service, I was on a disaster medical assistance team, which meant we got sent to a lot of disasters. And one of our last ones was at Ground Zero on 9/11. And I retired, but now I'm still working, what I consider working part-time at the National Cancer Institute.
And Jim, how about you? You can tell us about your life before Knollwood.
Well, I moved to Washington in 1993, right? Yeah, 1993 to do some graduate work at Johns Hopkins, and that led to a brief stint at the Pentagon. Now, I'd served my 28 years in the Army plus Reserve, and after the Pentagon, I went to work for a defense contractor who was conducting the Train and Equip program under the State Department in Bosnia. This was after the Bosnian War. And our job was to help train the Federation Army, Bosnian Federation Army. It was a fantastic assignment. I spent the whole time in Sarajevo, and I really became attracted and fascinated about the Balkans, and spent 4 years there. And when I got back, I started to write a book on the breakup of Yugoslavia. Hit a few minefields, ran into someone who I thought would make a good co-author. We're still talking about it, but that hasn't transpired yet because I need her expertise to complete the plan that I had. So the book's kind of just sitting there. But anyway, that's one of the things one of my activities since in the last 20 years.
It's a long time in coming. Now, Judith, I know you have a musical background.
Yes, I'm a college graduate. Uh, and I'm from Pennsylvania. And I've been in Knollwood since, oh, 12 years now. And it has been a wonderful extension of my musical life. I was a music teacher in Pennsylvania and in Michigan and Japan. And now Washington. Washington was my last stop. And I've enjoyed the trip from Pennsylvania back to Washington, around the world, in some way involved in music.
And you have a famous student, don't you?
Yes, I met this famous lady in elementary school while I was teaching elementary music, and we became close friends. I with her mother and her family and sister and brother because they happened to be at the same school. And now the senior lady is now celebrating her 25th year at the Metropolitan Opera. Wonderful singer. Her name is Denise Graves. And if you recall, I forgot the name, the Chief Justice who was buried last month or 2 months ago.
Oh, Ruth Bader.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Denise sang at her service,
Oh,
and she is very approachable. And then we have my 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 existence was always in music, and we had a good time together.
and you're a pianist yourself, right?
Yes. And by the way, if you're here tomorrow, as some of the pianists are going to give a program, 2:30 in the Anderson Room.
I
So you
saw
can,
that. Hmm.
not a long program, but come and join us.
Mhm. Yeah, it's nice that you still play.
Yes, I enjoy it. I really enjoy playing. So I don't know whether you have music interests. You may want to sing. I'm I'm offering you to come and see the group. Welcome you.
Now, you mentioned you were here for about 12 years that you first moved here. So Jim, and then maybe Jean and Esther. We'll start with Jim. How long ago did you come to live at Knollwood?
Just under 2 years ago. I moved here in April of 2019, and haven't regretted it for one second. Much more comfortable here. It's quiet, nice, pleasant, and it really has a community atmosphere, and that was one of the main attractions. And I'm in a good section. I like all my neighbors, and it's just a convenient locale to pursue what you want to pursue.
Now, Esther and Jean, how long have
Me?
you lived at Knollwood?
We're newcomers. We moved in the middle of October, which is what, 3.5 months or 3 months ago. And we've enjoyed it. Of course, some of our activities that we want to do are curtailed, but the musical programs interest us a lot. We found out about Knollwood because a band that Jean plays in and they performed here. And that's how we discovered Knollwood.
Jim, do you play an instrument?
I can turn on the radio. My mother was a musician, but I did not inherit her musical genes.
And Jim, or excuse me, Jean, tell us a little bit about your musical interests.
Well, I have been interested in music since I was in grade school, but I played in the high school band, orchestra, and then when I went off to college, I stopped for about 25 years, and then Esther found an ad in the paper that somebody was selling a trombone for $25. So we bought that, and I started playing the trombone. And then our kids played the musical instruments, and she talked to the high school band teacher and wanted to know if he taught adults. And he said he did, only if they were serious. And so we had been playing weekly for about 30 years. And I do play in the Tacoma Park Community Band, and I've been in that for a long time. And that's one of an organization that actually comes and plays usually holiday concerts here at Knollwood. And I have found a little room where I feel I'm not bothering anybody if I play my horn.
So you practice right in your apartment home.
I'm still working on that. There's a room down in the lower level that is not occupied. I just didn't want to disturb the neighbors yet.
I don't know if they would hear you though. Do you
Probably
think they
won't.
would? Yeah, because the walls and the floors are cement and steel. You should give it a whirl. Unless you're really, really bad, they might enjoy it a lot.
Well, it's a pretty good sized horn and it makes a lot of noise, so I have to be careful.
I think,
The previous neighbor said he used to go to bed at night with Jean's papa, and that's what it sounded like. And that was in another house. So
well, we're above you here. I could crack the window and listen.
yeah.
Okay. Well, there is a question from somebody, from Ashley, who says, oops, I just missed them. Let me pull it up again. Actually, I'll help if I get my glasses. So one of the questions is, what made you decide to move to Knollwood when you did? I guess it's about the timing, because you moved during COVID.
We did move during COVID. It was interesting because we had to sell the house that we've been in for 48 years and allow people to come in to look at it. And although we did know somebody that bought a house without seeing it during that time, but in Tacoma Park, I think that wouldn't have happened. So, and then we had to move and get everything set up, and it was interesting. That's all I can say.
What led you to moving versus putting off the move, though?
Well, our house was 3 stories, and Esther had, some difficulty with the stairs, and so we had actually a chairlift, and decided that we needed some place where she could be mobile the whole time and not have to worry about stairs, and also not have to worry about the roof leaking or shoveling snow and all those other things, raking leaves, all those other things.
Well, and the snow is a big thing this year. I hear we might be in for some more of it tonight.
Well, Gene used to hire people and the kids in the neighborhood, but then he'd get out and be shoveling right next to him.
Well, I'm from Minnesota, so it really, it's a joke around here.
Yes. Yeah, we do not get big volumes here, but it does shut down the world when it does come. So someone else asked, are all of you retired? I guess, Judith, are you retired?
Oh, yes. Yes, I'm retired. Other than playing, I play for church and solos before this crush that came down on the world. Weddings, but I still play, and I play the piano. I accompany the choir when we could have a choir at Knollwood. But in and around, I'm still playing
Are you still playing at your church?
on Zoom.
Okay. Oh, that's
Mhm.
cool. That's
Yeah,
great though. Yeah.
yeah.
And Jim, what about you? Are you still working? Your
I'm,
book.
I'm working, but I'm not drawing a paycheck.
Okay. What kind of work do you do?
Well, right now, well, I'm involved in several things. First of all, I'm on 3 committees here at Knollwood, so that takes up a little bit of time. But my own activities, I'm working with a Minnesota-based group that is trying to assist our former allies in Southeast Asia, Hmong, Lao, Cambodians, Montagnards who fought with us during the Vietnam War, because many of them are having a hard time. And we're trying to uh, promote legislation that will help them get some benefits, to include someone to be buried in U.S. cemeteries. Now, there's some controversy about that, but that's one of my activities. And the other one is the book project that I mentioned that's kind of in stasis right now.
And what about Jean and Esther?
I retired. I mentioned before that I retired and then someone wanted me to come to work. So I did that for 5 more years. And
But
are
now
you
you're
retired?
Well, I retired from the Food and Drug Administration in the Public Health Service. But then I went back and started working part-time as a regular government employee. And I retired from that, and now I'm a volunteer at the National Cancer Institute. So I don't know if I'm retired or not.
you're retired, but not retired.
Can't quite cut the cord yet.
Yeah, yeah. How often are you working now?
2 days a week, except that not really, because the building is closed.
Do you do a lot remotely?
And
Yeah.
it's all remote,
It's all remote. Yeah, I know quite a few people that are working just remote. And in fact, I think there's a couple people watching today that work remote. Maybe their employer thinks they're working right now.
So one of the other things that keeps me busy is that I'm the head of the Tacoma Park 4th of July Committee. And
Oh,
4th of July is a big thing in Tacoma Park.
well, hopefully it'll be extra big this coming 4th. So someone named Bonnie is asking, is Knollwood the only community you considered, and do you consider this your last residence? So we'll have everybody answer this one. So let's start with Judith. Judith, did you look at any other communities, and do you consider this to be your last residence?
Yes, I did, but I decided at that time I was living in Maryland, Temple Hills, Maryland, and I had to go a little travel to go attend my church, and it was in Washington, next to 16th Street.
Mm.
And you know where, if you were there in that distance, I said I would like to go to church close to home, and and that's what brought me in. And I found out that some folks were living in the neighborhood, and then some folks were living in Knollwood, and that was the answer. And I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the folks who live here. I've gained quite a few friends. And you know, I think that when you're in music, musicians, it gathers friends. So what else? We connected through the music and through the shortness of the drive.
So for Jim, did you look at other communities? And do you consider this your last residence?
Yes, before I even heard of Knollwood, some friends who live in a retirement home in Maryland, in outside of Silver Springs, Riderwood. He invited me there several times, and it seemed like a nice place. But anyway, after I discovered Knollwood, my preference shifted very strongly toward Knollwood. So there was hardly any debate about which way to go.
And
So
do you
what's the second
consider,
question? Oh, well, yeah, this is my final place. Yeah, I don't plan to move again. Moving was such an unbelievably draining experience for me. I don't ever want to go through that again.
now what about Jean and Esther? So moving is fresh in your mind, having only moved in Cove-tober.
Well, being in the house 48 years, you accumulate a lot of things. And it was really painful to have to part with so many things. And, but, you know, once we decided, then it had to happen. And as far as Knollwood is concerned, I mean, we have friends that have moved to other places in the area, and we consider this the best of the lot.
Yeah, we have been in other places, but not looked seriously. The only place we looked seriously at was Knollwood, and our daughter, who lives in Pennsylvania, was visiting one weekend, and we took her to the concert that they performed here, and she said something about, what about this place? And I said, my answer was, what about this place what? And she said, you could move here. And I think it had a military logo or something on it, and meaning that we would be eligible, and it's nice. And we are very ingrained in this particular community area. We have friends on both sides of the park. We, as I mentioned before, our synagogue is very, very close. Maybe it's not even 10 minutes from here. Also on 16th Street. And so it feels comfortable. We're city people. We didn't want to go far out from anything that we're used to. We go to Strathmore a lot. We go to Theater J downtown. We usher at Arena Stage and the Clarice Smith Center. And so we're centrally located right here. We're really in good shape.
Now we have someone else who is asking if you could talk about some of the programs and things that happen at Knollwood.
Programs that in Knollwood.
Yep. Yeah, why don't we have you start, Judith, some of the programs at Knollwood.
Thank goodness we're close to Duke Ellington School of the Arts. And as Denise, when Denise graduated from there, and we have had the privilege, the honor of more students and orchestra, the girls choir, Denise and many other soloists. And we have, I don't know the name of your band. I know there was a band here twice last year or year before last. We have many programs, I think, and you'll just have to go. I guess you have to get the announcements hanging on every bulletin board, I'm sorry. And then we'll decide, will they be good or so-so? But we have excellent artists performing here.
Now, somebody did ask, and let's see, we got a lot of questions revolving around what to do. So Bonnie said, this is for, how do Gene and his wife travel to all these off-campus activities? You, Gene, what do you say?
We drive there.
Oh.
Now, I know that, that Knollwood has buses and they do schedule concerts at, I know, the Kennedy Center and elsewhere. But since all those places are closed, we haven't taken advantage of that. But otherwise, we have driven, to these other sites.
Yeah, so people can drive, they can use the Knollwood transportation, they could use Uber, buses, Metro, what have you. Now,
May I just want to say, it's like, if anyone needs to know, it's not an amusement, but if you enjoy shopping for groceries, we have we have places, we have a bus will take you right to the door. So you don't have to worry about your car. You don't have to worry about your parking. The bus leaves, and there's a schedule for the bus, and it saves your gas.
and the stores are all open during COVID.
Yes. Yeah.
Somebody else is asking, maybe Jim could answer this one. What activities are on site for someone who doesn't drive?
Oh, you mean for getting around town or for?
No. What types of things happen at Knollwood?
Oh, good gosh. There's a writing class. There's an arts class. We have some excellent artists here, probably some writers too. I haven't read anything they've produced. We have various types of exercise class. There's a sit and fit. You sit in a chair and do different things. And then there's a different type of exercise class. It's not other than sit and fit. That may be a third too. We have an exercise room, which consists of equipment that you can use to do different things, and to include a stationary bike. There are various groups. I belong to the Shakespeare group, and we will familiarize ourselves with a Shakespearean play, or it could be some other type of play. And we meet on once a month. An actor and theater professor comes in and leads the discussion. It's very interesting. And my second week here, I met some people via the Shakespeare group, and that's one way of getting to know some other people. And I was impressed with their knowledge and insight. So that's an example of some of the activities that we have. There's oh, good gosh, I've got the schedule right on my wall here.
Yeah, well, I can read off some of the things, Jim. So even during COVID, you could still go to some different exercise classes. Some of them you can go in person or Zoom in. There's movies you can sometimes watch with a small group for COVID, or Zoom in. Tai Chi. We have some things that are virtual. There was a concert on a Monday that was virtual. There are different art classes. Then there's craft classes too. They did a Valentine card making craft class. There's an art group that meets, which isn't the same as an art class, but people meet and do their own art thing. And then we do have art teachers come. There's a health forum that's going to be either in person or Zoom. There's jewelry workshops. We had a night in Miami, which was a movie. And then there's different shopping trips. So even though museums and whatnot aren't open, places like Trader Joe's and, of course, Safeway, Giant, Whole Foods, different shops and stuff are still open that people can go to. I see there's Tai Chi that's by Zoom, and Tai Chi that's in person. Men's discussion group, I think that was in person, the men's discussion group. So kind of a wide variety of things. Yeah, and I think, there's a lot of courses and such on Zoom too. I know actually everybody who's watching could actually participate in this. Knollwood has a grant for OM Practice. It's OMPRACTICE. And on the Knollwood Facebook page, which is at Knollwood DC, there's a link where you can use any of these OM Practice classes for free. So not only can residents use them, but our viewers can use them, I can use them, and they're all different levels. Anything from meditation to yoga is on there. I'm not sure if they have Tai Chi, but all different levels as well. And they are live, so an instructor is actually watching you and letting you know, making sure you're doing it right or not. But I know that will be free to Knollwood or any viewers who go to our link on Facebook for at least 2 or 3 more months. So that's kind of new. We've got a couple more questions here. All right, so somebody is asking, we'll go through one by one. We'll start with Judith. We'll do ladies first, and then we'll do Jean and Jim last. So starting with Judith. Judith, how about dining here? Do you cook? Do you eat out? Do you go to the dining room? Do you carry in? Tell us.
Dining, if you can, well, let me just say this. At one
Ignore
time,
COVID.
okay, we off COVID.
Yeah.
Okay, the dining staff is wonderful. They are wonderful. To bring your meals right now to your apartment. If there's a time when you could serve it downstairs. I think that was off and on depending on COVID, but they are excellent folks to work with. If I can say truthfully, if something is not to your liking, don't be afraid to politely address the staff. I have done it, and never too much. They are friendly, and I think you would like them. If you have not tried it, we have a chef who has been here at least a month now. The other chef retired. I don't know how long he's been here.
Well, we still have Matt, Matt is a chef who's been here for years. Matt's
Yes,
still here.
yes, that's true.
Mhm.
I think the staff is really, really great.
Mhm. So do you cook at all? Or do you prefer?
Yes, I do. I do a lot of, well, breakfast and lunch.
Okay.
And I do breakfast so I don't have to get up early. You know, so I enjoy that. And sometimes I decide to do some experimental cooking. And only I have to taste it, you know, and if it doesn't work out well, you know, it's okay. But you just come make yourself at home. Get to know the folks who are around you. Don't be afraid. Just say hello.
So, well,
Yeah.
Esther,
Yes, yes. Okay.
Esther, what about you and Jean? What about meals for Esther and Jean? Do you cook? Do you dine in? Do you dine out?
Jean is a great cook. And being in social work and being on emergency stuff, being on emergency call all the time, I never knew what time I was going to get home from work. So even though I cooked the first 25 years of our marriage, he started, I would take things out in the morning, and when I'd come home, and it could be late, one time it was 2 in the morning, but he would have cooked the food. So he's been cooking. He's a great one for making winter soups, and he bakes bread and makes rolls and does some of that. And hopefully people will get a chance to taste it because he's good. He's even started baking bagels. So that,
Ooh,
since the COVID.
that's a new post-COVID hobby.
I actually cooked all the holiday meals. that we have, that we celebrate. And so that was fine. I haven't forgotten how to cook, that he really likes the kitchen.
Jim or Jean, do you want to add anything to Esther's?
Yes, I eat 1.5 meals a day in the, I get them from the bistro.
One
Depending
and a
what's
half meals?
1.5, that averages out to about 1.5 meals. I do my own breakfast always, and supper or lunch depends again on what's on the menu. And the menu has gotten better recently. I think that's due to the fact we got a new dining room manager, and some of the dishes just taste better. It's that simple. And if you don't like what's on the menu, you can order other things. You're not limited to what's that day's special. So, and if you're, say, a vegetarian, you can order vegetarian meals, or you kind of design your own type of food if you want to.
Now, how about you, Jean? What about you in dining? Anything you want to add?
Well, our house had a pretty big kitchen, and moving into the apartment, really, it's smaller, but it's very easy to work with, and you can cook anything you want. And I like to cook, as Esther said. And so we eat most of our meals in-house. On the weekends, we like to experiment and try some of the local restaurants for takeout.
We have taken out of the dining room downstairs and enjoyed it very much.
And just for the people watching, so during COVID, Knollwood has to follow whatever DC's regulations are. Dining in, no dining in. 25% dining in, no dining in. So, Knollwood just has to keep on top of whatever the DC restaurant regulations are for COVID. But I do know that in ordinary times, Knollwood would charge for delivery of dining within the community. But during COVID, I know they've waived the delivery charges for residents here. So let's see, do we have another question? Let's see, somebody wants to know, let's see. Are meals, so somebody wanted, are meals optional, or are they part of the monthly cost? They're optional and very cost effective, so I could answer that one. Let's see, is there anyone else for someone else? Somebody asked, they don't know anyone who lives at Knollwood. Someone who's been here before, and he or she said, I visited and it seems friendly, but I'm intimidated about coming to a place where I don't already have friends. Do the panelists find the community welcoming when they first arrived? How about you, Judith? You've been here the longest. When you think back, were people welcoming when you first arrived?
Yes, but I have to cheat. I have to say that I knew two families when I came here, and didn't know that they were at Knollwood. And just a mealtime sitting down together, and we finally got to know each other better. And one led to another neighbor. I found that it's a friendly group.
Now, Esther and Jean, you came during the middle of COVID.
Right.
How was it? How is it for you so far, making friends?
Well, we knew one person who lived here that we didn't know she lived here by talking to a resident who had moved in earlier than we did. I just happened to mention something, and she said, oh yeah, her sister lives here. I mentioned we ushered at Arena Stage, that was it. And so we got reconnected after 50 years. And it was a long time that we hadn't seen each other. We had a mutual friend. Our children used to play together when they were little. The friend moved away, and somehow we lost touch, and she's here. So that's really great.
That's a good story. Jean, what would you like to add anything?
Let's see. Well, my, I was the band played here, and this was always our favorite place because the audience was so attentive, and after the people were so friendly, and that sort of has rubbed off on me, and one of the reasons that we are here.
Also, we love meeting new people. I mean, that's never been a limitation for us. So we have, acquaintances and friends that we've known the whole 50 whatever years that we've been here in Washington, but a lot of new friends. We have newer friends and people in between. So that is not an issue for us at all.
Jim, what about from your perspective? How, let me go back to where that question was and see what they said again.
Yeah, I find it's easy to meet new people here very quickly.
Mhm.
Knollwood has a welcoming committee, and different members of the welcoming committee do different things. Within a day or two after you arrive, someone knocked on my door and said she was part of the chapel committee and explained the religious services. And someone else came in and explained various things. And before certain events, I'll get a telephone call and say, "You're aware that something's going on tonight? I think you might be interested in it." And so that got me very quickly integrated into some of the activities here, because otherwise I wouldn't have known what was going on. And then when you go to something, you start to meet people. The hardest thing is you meet so many people is remembering names.
Oh, yeah.
I still have problems with that. But
Especially when you're wearing the mask.
yeah, it's worse now with the mask. That's true. That's true. And but I don't think getting to know new people, especially wherever you go, whatever section you're in, the first floor or the fourth floor, people will want to know something about you. Where do you come from, and so forth. And so you'll have friends in very short order, I think.
Let's see. Somebody did ask about religious services, but you've already kind of touched on that, that there are religious services here. Somebody, I guess it's, does, and this was, does Knollwood assist residents with moving, packing, setting up, and unpacking? No, we don't. I mean, we do have very reliable companies that we actually would refer you to that have worked with other Knollwood residents that we know they're going to do a stand-up job. We know that they have such a high satisfaction rate that we're happy with giving out specific, organizations as referrals. But Knollwood itself, we do not have any sort of moving team here or unpacking team. Because I guess, a few people a month arrive, so it probably wouldn't behoove us to have our own kind of business like that.
From
We
our,
can definitely refer you. Go ahead, Jean.
no, I'm just going to say from our experience that probably it's better to get more than one estimate.
Yeah, definitely you can have several estimates, and the organizations can do different things. Some can do soup to nuts, or some can just do very specific. Yeah. Yep.
What was really great too is that we, the company we used, someone came out and did looked at what we were taking, measured everything, and we did a floor plan. And they did a floor plan. And when we came in the first time, everything was set up according to the floor plan. They had put it in. And I don't think we've moved anything. I think we just have left it where they put it because it feels good to us. That was an important factor, not having to worry, oh, we didn't want that there, or that doesn't look well. They did a great job at setting things up.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Looks like we might have had another question come in.
Could I add something?
Oh, you sure may.
My suggestion is when you make the decision to move to Knollwood, start packing 1 month before that day. I struggled getting the stuff organized and boxed up and put in some order that I could retrieve it when I got here. I fell behind. The movers did a good job. I can't complain about them. That just as Judith explained, but no, Esther and Jean explained. But the moving itself, I was a basket case after I got here. It was just very draining. So start packing as soon as you can, and it'll go a lot easier.
Now, there are some companies do offer like packing, organizing, setup, you know, a lot of different services too, in addition to just the moving. So sometimes, you know, it's going to cost you more, but that might save you a little bit in the emotional entanglement at the end of it, or the physical mess. Yeah. So somebody wanted to know how long was the time from deciding you wanted to live at Knollwood to moving in? You want to start with that one, Jim, and then we'll ask everybody else?
It was under 90 days. And part of that had to do with the fact that the room I wanted was being remodeled. And that was an advantage because I wanted shelves put in, floor to ceiling shelves on one entire wall. And they did that. And I'm glad it worked out that way. But it just took time. There weren't any snags or delays or bureaucratic snafus, but it just took time to get things put together.
Now so this was not just picking an apartment, but you found Knollwood and decided you want to live here and moved in all within 90 days?
Within 90 days, yes.
Wow, okay. So, okay, because I know a lot of people, you know, look a long time and then, you know, so most of the time the timeline I've seen is a lot longer. How about, well, Esther and Jean, from the time you first started considering Knollwood to the time you actually moved in, how long was that?
I think from the time we first visited officially, they had an open house that we saw somewhere. I think maybe we were kind of interested, and then so I went on the website and it said they were having an open house in a very short time. So we signed up for that. And from then, I think it was about 1.5 years altogether. So we weren't cognizant of being on any waiting list, but we probably were. It's just that when we decided what we wanted, we got a call that they thought we would like where we are right now. And I think they made a good call.
Part of that time, it seems like a long time, but, you know, we're just sort of, I don't know, ambling along, knowing what we wanted to do, but and not actually putting in the bits that we should have at the time until, you know, the last couple months.
And Judith, how about you? When did you first have an inkling about Knollwood, and how long was it before you actually lived here?
Well, I did say, or I didn't say that one school where I taught, the secretary or the secretary's mother worked at Knollwood. And that's after I did see other places. And between the two of them, they suggested Knollwood. My husband was deceased at that time. And that's when I started going, coming here to just look around, just look around. Then I went back. Then I came back. They said they were going to have a Christmas party. Then I went back to work. Then I came back for the third time. And I I just had not changed my mind. Although I have looked at certain other places, but I wanted to live in the city, and I didn't want to get away from my church, and it was great. But moving, moving. If I do that again in life, just take me away.
Yeah.
Moving is the worst experience, I think, in life. Trying to find things and fit things in your living room, in your bedroom. What about the things that you're going to give away? My goodness, I decided that I don't want it. And a lot when the moving truck came, and I'm very honest, I said, Mister, if you want it, you can have it. And that's what I did. And I did have a truck. I did I did the best I could, but moving is a traumatic experience, and I did not want to save any of that experience for life. But I'm here, and as I said, I've been here 12 years, and I haven't regretted the move. I don't have anything downstairs uh, to save for what? What am I saving it for if it's downstairs? And I've been here this long. I've enjoyed it. I've been enjoyed living here, and I'm not. I think this is it. I know this is it, and I hope you all have the same experience. Just loving it, loving it. I can the folks around here. I love them. All. I walk through the hall. We, we speak. We joke. We talk about everything. When I see you in the hall too, I'll talk to you. I laugh with you. And I don't care if you say, she's crazy. Yeah, that's okay. It's okay. I am friendly and I want you to love it. This is, I think this is the end of our lives. Why mess it up with folks you don't speak to? Just live it up. This is it. Smile. I don't care if you know, I love it. I love Knollwood. I can't say anything more about it. I just love it. Not going anywhere.
I know we're closing in on an hour now, and we have a lot more questions, which we're not going to be able to get to all of them. But there's probably one more I'm going to take, and I'll probably just do a quick answer myself. But for all of you who haven't had your questions answered, you can contact us at Knollwood. We do also do some very small COVID appropriate marketing type events here. We don't have a lot of resident involvement in our marketing events like we did pre-COVID, but I imagine we will again after COVID, or even actually we've almost all been vaccinated here, and I think a lot of us have had our second doses already. So we are creating a little bubble here at Knollwood.
Man,
Yep.
One more thing. Janie, you know Janie.
Mhm.
Her husband said that there is a men's group, and the men's have started it all with fire. So I haven't been up because I'm not a man. But if if you're interested in it, you'll see Janie and she'll tell you about it. That's it.
Or Jim would know about it too, I bet, or
Oh,
maybe
maybe.
Jean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do Jean or Jim, do either of you participate in the men's group?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Didn't it just start?
Yeah.
Well, I think it just got revived from COVID because it was before COVID, and I think it has come back now because we've been starting to slowly, have more things to do here, and it, other than Zooming, but in-person things. But some of the questions that are starting to come in are a little bit more sales or marketing oriented. So for those, I would suggest someone either contact Helen or I, or come to some more of our webinars, find out when our marketing events are. We do personal Zoom tours. They're not like this, where we're actually walking around the community and showing people the community. It's one-on-one, so we're going to show you what you want to see. We also do in person. It's only strictly by appointment, of course, and we take some extra precautions, as you might imagine. But one question was, do people have a choice of several apartments, when they come here? And I think they were directing it at the three of you, but what happens is Knollwood is not a community under construction. So when an apartment opens, somebody then will be able to have an opportunity for it. So it's not necessarily that you're going to not have a choice of more than one place, but your choices may be, you may have one choice 1 month and you may say, oh, I don't really like that. And 4 months later, you may have another choice. So you're not going to take something that you don't want. And some people are very specific in what size they want and won't budge out of that parameter. Other people, say, well, this is the range for me. So those are all more kind of personally dependent things. But when you decide to come here, we don't tell you what apartment, what you're getting and whatnot, because they're all different sizes, all different price points, all different configurations. So is there anything that any of you would like to say before signing off? Judith or Jim, Jean, Esther?
I just wanted to say that we never considered going anywhere else but Knollwood. If we were going to get into this kind of living for our senior years, and we knew we had to do something. And we know people that have done all different things, but this felt the best for us. And for the last at least year before we moved, I would say the only place I would consider is Knollwood. And because we've been in other places and we've talked to people about other decisions that they have made. And so now that you've opened up, we have opened up to more than just military retirees and families, it seems more open, and we can talk to our friends about that too.
What about Knollwood made you think it was the right place?
Okay.
Put your finger on it?
Yeah, my finger. It was location. It's a beautiful neighborhood. I can't beat the neighborhood, just driving through it. And we used to go by here a lot. So, and it's close to downtown, and it's close to the things we like to do and put our energies into. And it doesn't take very long to get anywhere. So we're just happy that we made the decision, and the people, the staff have been wonderful to us, and it's just been right.
Judith or actually Jean, did you want to add anything to what your wife said?
I think she put it very succinctly, that those are the reasons that we were looking for a place, and we found one here at Knollwood.
Judith, any last words from you?
I think I've said my part. I love it. I love it. I love it.
She's so
And I didn't give anybody any words to say about this. So, and how about you, Jim?
I saw two things that haven't been mentioned yet. It's well, one has. My coming here improved my community life considerably. My associational life was very strong before I came here because I belong to various organizations. But my community life needed some improvement, and my coming here fixed that overnight. Second thing I'll mention is that Knollwood has tremendous leadership. I'm referring to the CEO and the COO. And that showed up when the pandemic hit. They saw what the problem was. They communicated what was going to happen and what the difficulties would be. Communicated it clearly. They laid down the guidelines about how we would live, function, and so forth. And we have done very well in this COVID environment. And that was due to the type of leadership that we have. So this is a safe place, this is a safety bubble to live in my view.
Yeah, we are. I know it's unusual because we've had I think over 95% of all residents, whether it's independent living, assisted living, skilled nursing, have had their second dose already. And I think we're over 85, 86% of our staff here are already, and all, doesn't matter where you work, what department you're in, whether you work for independent living residents or residents who need care, you know, we have over 86% of our staff also vaccinated. And so I know some places are not there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
And appreciate you being willing to share and talk to some of the people that are looking into Knollwood. So have a great day, everybody.
All right.
And
You
actually
too.
tomorrow we're having a webinar on a non-webinar day, but we're having a webinar about ADF, which is the founding organization that started Knollwood, and just to talk about their role in Knollwood from the beginning to what it is now today. So, and Jim Michaels will be here to go through that. So you can all tune in if you want to. You can get the link right on the Knollwood website. Yeah, so the link is on the Knollwood website for that. So goodbye, everybody, and thank you.
Yeah, thank
No
you.
Pianos tomorrow,
Oh yes, the piano is tomorrow too.
2:30, I believe. Yeah.
Hi.
Yes. Thank you for the
Thank you
invitation to contribute.